to talk about something interesting.
Shounen anime, of which this season's DanDaDan is most certainly one, are usually about fights and conflict and blood-pumping action. Usually the catalyst for overcoming external forces is the realization and actualization of the power laying dormant as potential inside the main characters. This setup makes you, the viewer, feel impassioned and empowered. Like, yeah, you can punch your problems in the face and overcome your shit-ass manager or school bullies or exploitative late-stage capitalism with just your pure force of will. Right on. Cool. I love you all. Godspeed. And the Fed, yes, throw in a little supernatural abilities, and hell yeah, boom bam, we have DanDaDan. Episode 1, and hey, 5 million plus mangos sold, 100 million views on the Shonen Jump app, etc. Cool. But fights like episode 1, 2, and 4 of DanDaDan, ones against external factors, are not my cup of tea. My favorite anime of all time is Princess Tutu, which is like 90% talk no jutsu and like 10% I can tell you with some experience analyzing, directing, and writing that the best fight scene in DanDaDan contains no aliens, or spirits, or heavy line smears and bankai and whatever the fuck you kids do with your gojos nowadays. The best fight of DanDaDan is episode 5, Okurun versus Momo, or social pressures versus honest communication. Or perhaps more accurately, Okurun versus Okurun's doubts, and Momo versus Momo's insecurities. For context, our two protagonists, having just overcome those silly and largely irrelevant external issues, are now clearly friends who enjoy each other's company. We get Momo's beautiful excited line reads as she walks into class, and Okurun reading a magazine upside down in off-model chibi mode as he imagines the most beautiful glamour shot of Momo. Even 3 acts of snappy bullying get forgiven by him. He's pretty far gone. So too can we see Momo's longing in the magazines that she's brought, in the misrepresentation of the issue by her friends, setting up that she only has Okurun to talk about this with. Transition via the paper media, nice match cut into Okurun's dumb drawing and line echoing the same result. These two want to be together. Smash cuts back and forth to tell us the degree. And that goes on for maybe, a second or so, kind of too long, and then this. Friends, this is textbook textual tone inversion, a hallmark of good directing. The tension of I want to talk and quick cuts and passionate lines is broken completely by acoustic guitar and shots of the clock. The following short montage of missed connections and mirrored shots is quite lovely. This tension should upset you as a viewer. Denied the catharsis of them talking, you're dropped into the mindset of the characters and their forced introspection. You should get lost second-guessing yourself in your solitude. Doubt, desire, faith in another, not in yourself. Wondering how to express yourself and your desires in a way that is socially acceptable and not misunderstood. DanDaDan is not particularly a heady show, but it is, to its credit, blindingly earnest, and that arguably counts more. A large success of DanDaDan's characters is making Okurun and Momo feel on the same level. They come across as equal, but not homogenous or any bit less independent. The relationship manages to feel like two individuals with respect and individuality navigating a romance for the first time. And you can clearly see the parallelisms in directing. It's somber, but it's also almost too ridiculous, with an air of flippantness to the tone. So when we see them sitting not 10 feet apart and they walk face first into the inciting incident, that's a funny pun, I'm very witty, you should subscribe and like the video. It is quite funny, and it's to be taken with levity. A silly accidental kiss. A silly banter back and forth. This is in the realm of socially expected roles, playing them off. What is even said here? Do you remember the lines that go here? Okurun sure as hell doesn't, and he understands very quickly that the things he said just out of perfunctory reaction were not his honest and true feelings. And he very quickly escalates this fight scene to the point where he is deliberately apologizing for his rote actions to Momo. Now, here's the brilliant hoodwink of this scene, and why I love it so much. Ostensibly, social pressures are what is keeping Momo from opening up to Okurun or accepting his apology. She'll maybe get teased or something. But that's literally not what the text of the scene says. The onlookers say no less than 5 separate times that she is being way too hard rejecting Okurun. Social pressures literally aren't there. The social pressure is instead rooting for her to go talk to the guy and hear him out and to accept his apology. So what is keeping Momo held back then? That Okurun insulted her in the heat of the moment? No, she fully knows, if subconsciously, that it was a performance. It was an expected reaction just made without any thought or meaning. Before they are correctly mistaken as lovers, after they begin to confess that they were both looking for each other back then, Momo had one line. Do you remember what that was?
あれ?なんか変な感じになってるぞ。早く話題を変えないと。
Momo doesn't know what to make of the fact that they were both looking for each other, and it bothers her. So she tries to get out of the situation. We can extrapolate from this nuance in things left unsaid in the spaces between. She's uncomfortable because she doesn't know how to react to Okurun sharing the same feelings for her as she has for him. The complication of the situation and the red herrings of the social pressures don't assuage any of Momo's concerns. So what does it mean to have someone that reciprocates your feelings and wants to be around you? Well, it's vulnerable and scary. Momo pulls back. But she also knows that it's unfair to Okurun, who was nothing but honest. He was far braver than her as well to admit his stupid mistake and apologize, even if he was justly provoked. He's the right kind of autistic, bereft of any meaningful pride and unable to lie to save face or protect himself. But the situation does not end there. It's that exact fact, or character flaw you may call it, that makes him weak for the final confrontation, where his simple-minded openness is exploited for laughs and social degradation by Arya. This is what makes this fight scene so good. This is a perfect catalyst for Momo. Arya's usury actions violate something more primal than anything in her pride. They attack something we have seen earlier in the series with her grandmother, is not okay with. Someone that she likes and respects, someone meaningful to her being taken advantage of or made fun of. That is a step too far for her. And it just so happens that weakness of Okurun's, well, the perfect person to complement his blind spots is, of course, Momo. Just like the duo of powers we saw in episode 1, just like the complementary shots we saw of them throughout the first half of the episode, even socially, Okurun and Momo complement each other. Okurun's honesty forces Momo to confront her honest feelings, but it's that same quality, that reticence from Momo, that social, let's call it street wisdom, that prevents Okurun from being exploited in this scene. While the pan-violence joke might seem like a triumph in the resolution of the fight, we remember that the social pressures were not the enemy. The external pressures to the pair, again, not who we are fighting in this fight scene. Momo and Okurun literally say in the next scene exactly that. And Okurun ends with, "I'm so glad we could make amends, Ayase-san," in another overly saccharine bit of honesty. There's only one reaction shot of Momo frowning, one line not yet said, a reciprocation not yet made, and a kiss not yet given in the gap of this one single shot, but all nonetheless implied, and I must assume soon to be realized. But in that moment, the fight is over, and Momo and Okurun won against themselves. And with that, the plot comes in, and we're off to exercise Turbo Granny and reclaim Okurun's balls, etc., etc., etc. The fight ended, but we got the best possible outcome. The drama, the growth, the embracing of the honesty, and moving forward together and with each other. There is nothing more perfect to see after a fight scene than exactly that. Now, if you enjoyed this type of analysis, you should check out me talking about Madoka Magica, The Adolescence of Utena, or The Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya. Subscribe, leave a like, and comment down below if you watched to the end. My editor just recovered from E. coli, so give her a shout out in the comments.